You.
Well, welcome to the National Real Estate Cafe with Don Getling and Gino Franti. He's laughing at me because I actually followed directions for once.
For once. All right. We hope you follow direction by listening to the National Real Estate Cafe daily, because we really give you good insight of what's really happening with the numbers, what's really happening in real estate and finance, so much more. And we bring you great facts from not just us, from others. I mean, recently we were just talking about that there's no housing bubble. We've been telling you that for months. Gino even wrote an article on it. It's awesome at the Vault magazine at aprgi.com. And now, what's cool is the no bubble zone thing that Warren Buffett agrees on.
Spreading.
Yes. And now there's a Gallup poll that kind of supports what we're talking about.
Right. So let's take a look at this slide and let's talk a little bit about Gallup as an organization, right? So what they do better than anybody on the planet is reach out to Americans, pick up the phone, they call you, they ask you a few questions, they take the survey, and they're off. And they interview thousands and thousands of people. And what I love about this report, Don, is this is not based on factual data. This is based on how people feel. And sometimes how people feel is what determines what ends up happening, right? Emotions turn into actions, and actions turn into history.
Not just reports and people in the industry giving you their opinions. This is, like he said, how people feel. So let's go to this next slide here. Here's the results.
Hey, they feel pretty darn good about real estate, don't they? 35% of Americans believe it's the best long-term investment.
And then only stocks at 22. You know what I want to do is you go 22, you go to the gold 17 and 15%. Here's something that's interesting. You see bonds at 7%. Now remember, the Gallup poll is basically doing a poll amongst average Americans, not businesses. Believe it or not, the bonds, even though it shows 7%, that's with Americans. But for investors, big-time investors, bonds are so important right now that that's what's keeping our interest rates down.
Yeah, hedge fund managers, institutional fund managers, pension plans, and that kind of thing. Bonds are the most popular investment there is. That's why we have very low interest rates. Why? It's called a flight to safety. So when they don't feel comfortable in stocks, they move to bonds. When they don't feel comfortable in bonds and they think they want to take a little more risk, they move to stocks.
All right, one last slide here. Who did they poll? Well, basically your average individuals like a lot of us, a lot of you.
This is a really funny thing to me. I look at this thing and I go, who wrote this thing? Why not just write from 18 to 64 instead of the 3 different stages?
Yeah, well, that's true. That's funny.
Or 18 and older. Look at that thing.
They included each of those individual demographics.
I'm sure there's a breakdown somewhere of each one of those different ones. At the end of the day, they interviewed the average American, as we say, and they chose real estate. That's important because that means that real estate will continue to grow. It'll continue to be the preferred asset class. It continues to be tax benefited, yada, 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 yada. And it's great to live in your own home.
Well, and it's important that you feel it's a great investment. Not just investors. It's important how you feel, because confidence is everything. When we have good confidence, that drives the economy. And that's what's really driving the economy since the Great Recession. So good things ahead. Invest in real estate, especially with rates being at near all-time lows. Did you see our, a few days ago we talked about that.
Yeah, and there's something interesting happening as well. As the industry grew very quickly because there was a lot of movement in real estate, when there's not a lot of activity, then they lower the spread, which actually makes rates more attractive. So even if bonds aren't as sexy as they were a couple of months ago, rates are just as sexy, if not better.
All right. So you get better and better every day by listening to the National Real Estate Cafe with Don Getling and Gino Franti. Get these sent right to your phone by texting NREC to the number, texting NREC to 58885. That's it. 58885. Okay.
All right. But also check out our website, nrecafe.com, or just type Don and Gino into Google and you'll find us.